Fehlig is the founder and president of the Fehlig Group, a management consultancy in corporate social responsibility. The Fehlig Group has been helping companies develop comprehensive corporate responsibility strategies. They assist companies in the areas of sustainability reporting, strategic community involvement, environmental impact, workplace practices, and supply chain management. So I'm going to skip through some of this, Mary, if you don't mind. She currently chairs the Gaithersburg Arts and Monuments Founding Corporation and serves on the board of Interfaith Works. She's lived in Kentlands since 1996. Please welcome Mary Fehlig.
And just remember to talk into the mic.
All right. I'd like to add, can you hear me? I'd like to add one more accomplishment. I too raised two fabulous daughters here in Kentlands, and I was just telling my friend Claire, I've noticed that both of them have chosen to live, unfortunately, outside of my home for the moment. They're 28 and 30, but they both have moved into cities, and I've just realized it's that nature of growing up in a walkable community, how it really is influencing the next generation. It's pretty cool. So as Clark said, I'm been a resident in Kentlands since '96. But I'm also a small business owner. And as Clark started to read through the bio, our field of work is corporate social responsibility, which which includes kind of at its core, community relations, which is why I have the honor of moderating this panel. Now, I can talk extensively actually about each one of these businesses and what they brought to the community, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to read bios. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I've asked them to talk a little bit about themselves, to talk a little bit about their business, but then really to answer these questions, because what we're talking about is, in fact, I had lunch with Mike Watkins and said, what do we talk about? And it was the idea about, we think about planning from the perspective of the residents. What about the perspective of the businesses? So the idea being, how is the design of Kentlands, how did that impact your business? And then the second question is, what do they see their role in the community? So Dennis, would you like to start?
I would love to start. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers in the beginning of this event of 25 months for the 25 years. Aileen and John, just thank you very much for your leadership. I think this is phenomenal. And just last night's event was touching to my heart. And I think what emerged for me last night as we talk from a standpoint of the businesses in the Kentlands is themes that were very important to us when we started. Why do Marie and I, my wife, who's my boss, and when we were searching for a place to relocate our practice, because we started in Germantown, and we just couldn't find an office space suitable, and we felt like we had an opportunity to be our own landlords, to find our own place in a community that has a vision. So that theme of vision really connected us to the Kentlands. The other theme that I heard last night was leadership. Working with a city government that's really organized and had a lot of interest in making the commercial side of the Kentlands become very successful. We had to recite our particular location. There was a design concept. We had to redo that design concept, and I remember being very nervous attending the meeting, a city council meeting with John Corrigan, who was the president of Mitchell Invest at the time, and just being in front of all those leaders, but how compassionate and open they were to listening. So vision and leadership, and then of course what a good mayor said last night, really what and we've heard this theme many times, that makes the Kentlands successful and made our hearts open to being here, in starting our practice or continuing our practice life here, was the people that make the Kentlands successful. And hearing those young individuals today at this same forum share their stories and how much they really enjoyed growing up here. But just a slight, just story that goes along with what attracted us to this community and the business section, the commercial area. And that was, we had a vision for our practice. We had been given at graduation from Georgetown in 1986 a really nice sign that was given to us by my parents. My dad was a dentist, and Marie's dad was also a dentist. So we had dentistry in the family. I think that in itself established in our mind's eye that someday we would have that sign hanging on a building. And just to have the opportunity to, we still pinch ourselves every day when we walk into our office to greet our patients and be with them and to be able to serve them, but to be able to have the kind of place to call home. And really, we consider our dental practice our second home. It is a business, of course, but a place where we can be part of the community and extend our joys in serving and giving back as well. The concept of serving and giving back, as we look at the role of our business in the community, has to do with the sense of community and being able to integrate and be part of you and be able to not be an invisible business, but a business that participates. And I've always enjoyed working. I have so many friends out here. I just feel like, but friends that we've interacted with and got to know through service. So, at the end of the day, we're thankful, we're grateful, and thank you, Mary, for inviting our business to come speak to you.
Well, folks, my name is Andrew Meyrowitz. I'm here on behalf of my family's business, The Wine Harvest. We've been here, the business itself has been here for 14 years. My family purchased The Wine Harvest April 1st, 2002, and this has been my life. I'm 30 years old, and I started at The Wine Harvest when I was 18. My entire adult life has been spent in a bar, working, not drinking. I have learned the industry through you guys, through the community, and through you guys, I have become who I am. Our business is depends on the community to survive. It is focused on the community. Its livelihood, its heart isn't inside the building until the customers come in, until you guys walk out of your house at the end of the day. Once you've gotten home, the kids are to bed and one of you needs to go meet up with a friend and have a bite to eat, or it's the weekend and the kids are off at an overnight, or the kids have grown up and they're out of the house and you need to celebrate, have a good night, you have a bad night and you just need a place to escape. I have learned more about community in this neighborhood than I have anywhere else. Our business has really started as a family operation. My uncle is our general manager, my father does the books, my mother does the food operations, and I deal with day-to-day operations, and I deal with wine education. Through the years, our family has grown and grown and grown because each and every customer gives us feedback. Each and every customer comes in, and each and every customer has become part of our family. When I look into the crowd, I see a lot of familiar faces. People who have inspired me from working with them and their causes, whether it's a nonprofit organization to raise money, or it's a birthday celebration that they're throwing for a friend. And through all of that, we have grown into what we are now. I've studied this. I changed my major after a year at school at the University of Colorado, moved back to Maryland and studied hospitality. And 90% of my questions when it came to customer service, HR, and marketing from my professors were all geared towards the Kentlands neighborhood because it was so well known. Our family has expanded our operation and we now have 2 locations, but the Kentlands is our flagship, it is our home, and it is all thanks to you guys.
Great.
Hey everybody, I'm Theo Hristopoulos. I'm here on behalf of my parents that own Vasilis Mediterranean Grill. Vasilis, as many of you know or don't know, is my dad's first name, but he does go by Bill. The design of Kentlands has greatly impacted our business in multiple ways. One way, in convenience. The most convenient part is that we live right above, and we dedicate 100% of our time to the restaurant just because of the fact that we live right above it. You know, actually growing up in Kentlands, and when I was at Quince Orchard, I remember my weekends, I'd be like, Dad, Mom, I'm gonna go out. And they'd be like, oh, we actually need you to work. So there I was working on the weekends and during the weekends. Another great aspect of this community is that we have 2 local grocery stores that are right around the corner for us, which is vital to our business because when we run out of produce or fresh products, we run over like mad people to Whole Foods, grab whatever we need, and run back without blinking an eye, and it's perfect. We're very blessed for that, I gotta say. We see ourselves catering to the citizens of Gaithersburg as a prime Greek family, and being the prime Greek family of Kentlands. So when you see Vasilis and you see us, you think the Greeks. So in the vernacular, we are the Kentlands extended dining room. And my role in the restaurant is being your maitre d', making you feel right at home, making you feel like you're in your own dining room, dining with us. Thank you, guys.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Bill Edelblut, the former owner of O'Donnell's Restaurant. Thank you all, and thank you, Mary and Clark, for having me back to talk a little bit about Kentlands and our history with Kentlands. It was a great community for us. Just to give you a little bit of history, my grandfather started O'Donnell's back in 1922 in D.C. My mother opened the Bethesda restaurant in 1956, and then I opened the restaurant here in 97. And that little slide that Mike showed of that restaurant down on the point of the lake that was one of the original concepts, well, I followed the Kentlands from the very beginning, and that was going to be our site if it ever was going to work out. And maybe if they tear down the house, maybe we'll come back and put one up there. Good answer. We wanted to be, I watched the Kentlands, and I watched the whole transition and various transitions that Mr. Campbell talked about. And I wanted to be a part of this community because O'Donnell's was always community-based and always gave back to the community. I wanted to be a part of a community that was going to be 6,000 or 7,000 home sites. I mean, it's a built-in market. I believe the design of the Kentlands, Lakelands can be a positive and a negative if you don't handle it right. And I think for a business to come into a community like this, you have to embrace the community. And I think it's crucial that you do, that you become part of the community, that you're just like another family within the community. And I saw a lot of businesses fail in the Kentlands Business District because I don't think they were a part of the community. There was 2 times when several of us tried to start a business community group and get people going and get people more involved in the community. And we did it without a lot of success. But I think businesses like ours and several others, and these gentlemen sitting next to me, are proof that being a part of the community, giving back, and embracing the community is crucial to your success. We hosted a lot of events. We supported the schools. We supported the swim team over the year. We did a lot of things with the community, and the community gave back to us. And I think that my role was to make sure that we created an atmosphere at O'Donnell's. I mean, we had to be a good restaurant, we had to serve good food, and we had to have fair prices, and we had to do a good job. And I think we did. I think my role was to make sure that we continue to do that, and that we were in constant touch with the community and their needs, and what was going well and what may not have been going well, and what we needed to change. And there's a lot of people sitting in this room that kept me abreast of when I needed to change my menu, when the specials needed to change, and why don't you have a special a day? And it made my chef and myself and my general manager at the time, Rick, it kept us on our toes. And I think that was important. And I think it was a great aspect for us. And I miss the Kentlands. I miss my staff. I miss you all. But it was a great run. And I thank you all.
I wanted to amplify a little bit of what Bill said, in that I used to be on the Kentlands Community Foundation. And so I had the opportunity of, I knew Bill and I, our daughters went to school together, we had history. So I went out to Bill because I knew he was going to be an easy ask, and asked him to be on the Community Foundation board. Absolutely jumped in, started hosting the VIP dinner for the 5K, just got very involved. But I knew him, and I knew he was an easy ask. Dennis here actually approached me. Now you all, we've heard I'm a consultant on community engagement. You'd think he'd be wise enough not to come to me to say, how do I get involved? No. So he came and said, you know, and kind of stepped into the role of, how do I get more involved? I'm having that experience now with Theo. Tell me, we want to do more. We want to get involved. And I met Andy last night, so we're going to have a good run. But the point is, I just want to echo that all of them have been successful, and it's all been, it's been a very intentional effort of finding their role, of how do they take a leadership and an involvement role in Kentlands. I'd like to ask a little bit more, I guess it's a technical question, about the walkability. You know, how is that, you know, we keep talking about that. How has that impacted your business? Theo.
Well, for starters, everybody walks to Vasilis, and we absolutely love that. Another thing that my dad and my brother and I were discussing just last night was the fact that our outside patio has a walkway where people just passing by can literally walk through and smell and see the food, which is like free advertisement for us. And we just love how at home that feels and how family oriented the community is. I want to say that half of the people in this room are our regular customers there, and I know that you were just biking over the other day. Yeah, no, you do. She has a designated table. And I'm sure Andy has about the same to say about that.
I have to say it's great. Walkability is very important. I have people who come in all the time. They go and they park their car. They walk right over. They've got their car at home. They can have a drink, and they could have a second drink, and they can make it home. There's no issue of reckless driving, and God forbid you have 2 or 3. The beauty of it is you can still get home, and you have friends to guide you along the way because your friend's sitting right next to you. We also cater to the walkers in a certain way that we have a patio as well. And in our patio, we've got a replica of our storefront as a dog bowl. So the dogs can come on by, they get their drink on the walk too. And it's amazing. Yeah, there's a little bit of parking out front, but that's more for the people coming into the neighborhood. People from outside who want to meet their friends and have a bite, have a drink, pick up a 6-pack or product to take on the road. And normally they park their car there and they walk around the neighborhood, going to other restaurants, going to other businesses, going to other stores, maybe catching a movie as well. And it's really convenient for everybody.
Do you guys serve wine in the dog bowl?
Only if they're old enough.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you this, that we have a team meeting usually once a month, and we walk up and pick up our beautiful meal from Vasilis to serve our team, and then have our meeting. But we are seeing a lot more patients, prospective patients, but our patients, of course, that are in the Lakelands and the Kentlands that do enjoy walking to the practice. But we're seeing a lot of people, more people walking in and saying, hey, I'm looking for a dentist. And that's kind of, in the last 3 to 5 years, you know, an interesting change that we hadn't seen. And I think a lot more people are just becoming more aware of the downtown area in the Kentlands, and it's a nice fresh breath of air. It really is. It's nice to see that.
And I think that Bill, by having a fabulous restaurant and also by opening up the patio, made us all cross the street.
A little bit further walk, but and Friday nights after the music, some people were better off walking.
I've got more questions, but I want to open it up in the interest of time. Dick.
Yeah, I have a question. Really, I guess it's really more for Theo than the others, because your family has really been the prototype of what we wanted all of the mixed use, or much of the mixed use in Kentlands to be. You have your business, you live above your business. In the restaurant business, that makes it really, it gives you some space for being much more creative, because your commuting time is 2 minutes.
Oh, God. I have to say something about that.
But also you're on duty 24/7 too. My question is, I remember you when, of course, you were this tall, but now that you're grown up, what happens when it's time for you to get married and have your own family? That space above the store gets really tight. And you've got a brother, so you can't just elbow your parents aside. So how do you think you'll do that and still keep your connection to the restaurant, or will you start up another restaurant, hopefully in Kentlands too, to be with your dad and mom?
So let me try to paraphrase, Theo, so we can get it on the tape. I am to repeat the questions, and this might be a hard one. I think basically you're asking for Theo's life plan? No.
What am I going to do?
How did the design of the Live Works, and really growing up in that environment, you know, and acknowledging the intimacy with the business and the family, how is that going, you know, how do you see that going to be influencing the next phase?
Your mom and dad are going to hear this answer.
I know. Don't tell them. Okay, first of all, we're still always late for work, even though we live right above it. And secondly, I did just recently get engaged, and I'll tell you over some Chardonnay later. Elizabeth and I have been discussing opening up our own restaurant and possibly even taking over the family business and or opening up a second location.
Would you do it in Kentlands?
We would keep the Kentlands location original, wouldn't change anything about it, and we actually wouldn't even expand it because we don't want to take away from the family feel that we've already created. That's why we would go to another community that is similar to the Kentlands, but I would still manage this one. Does that answer your question?
There's no other community.
Well, you're right about that.
Yes.
So we've heard that the form that the retail center took was not what was originally envisioned, and now I gather there are some plans to turn it into more of a mixed-use area, and I was just wondering if you think that would be good, or something that would be more changed and you'd like to see as an effect of
So the question is how, you know, that there's some plans on the horizon about revisiting the commercial space, and what do you all think about that? How do you think that's going to be impacting your business?
My feeling at this point is that, first of all, there's a lot of good leadership emerging in the commercial area. We have the Kentlands Downtown Partnership, and there's some of their leaders are represented here. They're actually having their annual meeting on Tuesday. But there has to be the metaphor that I thought of the other day when I was speaking to one of the reporters for our local paper is that the Kentlands, per se, in the residential section has really emerged, and it's in its prime of its life, 25 years. The commercial section is maybe still in its adolescence, and needs some help, a little prodding, a little guidance, and leadership, but most important, we need dreamers again. So if there's leaders out there, there are leaders out there right now that are dreaming about the downtown section, and I know that there are dreams that are a little bit different than where we are right now. But on the other hand, we're not that far away from the vision that I think people have for that downtown area. And I would say this to all the residents, the Market Square area and where the pavilion is so vibrant on Saturday mornings when we have the farmers market, and that's a fun place to go on Saturday morning. I love that. I get up a little earlier every Saturday to come down and just walk around. I think that's been a great asset.
Yeah, Michelle?
I've always wondered why the architects never put an alley behind your store, especially. There is no alley, and they put all their trash on the front street. And it's now creating a health hazard. And if there's nothing else we can do, we can't make the store shorter and then run a new alley back there. And people have to put everything in a big wheeled, and then they put it in a trash can. But late at night, there are some habits from other animals that are not comfortable to be seen. It's not, it's the only thing on Main Street, the market, that really has a downside. Because Andy has to put it all out front. And it's very unsightly.
I do have to agree. Not a question for me.
So the question was the concern about the disposition of the trash on Market Street and having to go, that there's not an alley and having to go to the front. And Andy was going to respond to that.
I have to agree. It is a little bit of, I guess you would call it, a design flaw. The building was designed one way, and that is something that we deal with. Unfortunately, not really a question for me. That would have to be directed back towards the architects. I wish I could change that, but that is the way it is set up. And it does remind me a lot of parts of Europe where I have traveled, where you do see the trash go out every night or once a week or whatever. And maybe it was designed that way to be more of a old world feel. It's the only thing I
Yeah, there you go. Not a positive spin, yes.
I have one last question for Bill. Where do we all, as Kentlands citizens, go now for Norfolk Sampler or for the
So the question on the floor, where do we all go now for the Norfolk Sampler and the rum buns?
I don't know.
Stay
We
tuned.
possibly have some things in the works. I'm trying to find some locations with good foot traffic, not for a restaurant. I can't do it anymore. 40 years of that killed me. But a storefront I'm looking for a fish market, bakery, prepared foods. The rum buns will research.
Encouragement.
Yes, Mike.
So, none of your businesses could survive just on Kentlands residents alone. So you've provided a destination for a lot of people who don't live in the Kentlands and perhaps don't even live in Gaithersburg. So, but one of the things that's happening as we see the commercial district develop and continue to develop is more competition for your establishments now. There's more than one dentist, there's more than one wine shop, there's more than one restaurant. How do you regard the growth of competition? Do you welcome it? Do you encourage it? Has it benefited your business having that competition?
Mike's asked the question for them to respond to about the increase in competition that's coming from all sides.
I'll take that.
I got out.
I would have to say competition is always good. If you're the only one in town, you may end up getting a little lazy, cutting some corners. it's always good to have a little bit of competition. That being said, as a member of the community, as a member of the business community, you have to also watch out and balance. If you build a community that's all restaurants, all you end up with is a few people at each restaurant that are all full. They may go to each restaurant once a week and vary it up, but you don't end up with the proper saturation. So in order for that to balance, you do need the dentists, you need some retail, you need some wine shops, but you need to make sure you have a balance of everything in order for the community to survive. There are 2 grocery stores, there are a few wine shops, there are a few restaurants, but there also needs to be a balance of other aspects and other services and goods provided so the community can survive and so the business community can survive. It's a balancing act.
No more nail salons. Just to add to that, something that we like to say at Vasilis is business brings business. And since we're based on, we don't want to be based on just the people in Kentlands. We want everybody outside of Kentlands to come and experience the Kentlands experience, or the Vasilis experience as well. And those businesses are going to drive in outside forces, or outside people.
So I'm going to, I've been asked by Clark to wrap this up, but I want to thank all of you for sharing your thoughts, as I think it's a real important voice to see about, as they're as much, if not, very much a part of the community in terms of how we design, how we think, how we live. So thank you very much.